All right, so I'm first going to be going over the actual product and then I'll go over the code. So let's say we're adding a new student. Um, we'll just put my information in there. And all right, and you can see it was added to that list. And so if I wanted to then, let's just say I'll add an instructor. So test instructor. And we'll just keep that with the defaults. Just say this is me. So as you can see, this view allows all these options. So we can add a course. So let's add a course. We'll do data structures here. All right, and the course code is COP 4530. All right, and this course covers the basic data structures in C++. All right. And you can see that was added. We can also edit this. So, um, and basic algorithms. So yeah, that was added there. So we can enter the course. There's just this test student to show you that this assignment will show up. But say we want to enroll in this course. Um, Go to me, select student. As you can see, I have no current courses. So we'll just add from the list. So there's data structures too. So now enrolled. We can see that I have no assignments, so nothing to do there. Um, if I enter this course, you can see that I'm added here as well. And so we'll just add an assignment. We'll call this homework one. Um, we'll say write a basic for loop. And we'll say this is due here. And I've had a lot of errors with the testing because if you put it on the date, this assignment will actually be not able to be graded because it automatically sets the time to the current time as well. And we'll make this out of 50 points and we'll say, just add this to all students. And because there's obviously no submissions. So as you can see, homework one is showing up under Aiden, and it's also showing up under this new student. All right, and then if we go to my view, um, you can see that the homework one popped up. And let's just write a submission. So for, let's just do auto C and CR. Yeah, C. All right, and we'll submit that. The assignment was submitted. So we can go check on that now. Um, I'm assuming that you can get that these basic functionalities like editing the course and editing the student also work. Um, just because I don't want to show every little thing in this video. I don't want it to be too long. So let's go back to the master. Um, so yeah, you can see that the assignment is there. So if we edit the assignment now, you can see the submission. Seems like a pretty good um, answer. So save that, and then let's check it out over here. It wasn't graded for that student, um, and it was for this one. And as you can see, they have no submissions for the test student. Also, the search functionality works there, here, uh, here, blah, blah, and so here. Um, I'm going to be adding more visual elements, fixing some of the things, because it doesn't look particularly great right now, but I just wanted to show how it looks at its current development state. So I guess I'll begin with the models disposed. So it's probably not the most efficient way of structuring this, but we've got all the important things for the assignment, the name of the assignment, the description, the date, points, the possible points, and a list of submissions. Currently it's only returning the last submission, but I'm gonna eventually change it to show all submissions. Basically, you can add a submission if the time is not greater than the due date. Um, and then the default construction, um, name's default empty, time is now, um, and points, possible points, 90, yeah. Um, so that's pretty basic. For the course, getting a little bit more complicated. I know these models should probably be a lot simpler than this, but I don't know. I'll go with the bottom first. So toString is just the override for printing. Get assignment by ID just takes the student the assignment. I actually should probably screw up. But I have a dictionary representing it, so this basically just works by saying like the key value. So where we find the student index is the it's associated with student ID, which is and it finds their list of assignments that were assigned by them. Um, you can also remove the student, and it just removes it from the register. Um, and you can search for them. That just uses the function to do that. It's not super complex. Adding student just adds them, and it creates a new list. So there's no empty lists added. Then it just refreshes the view or refreshes the list, which basically just is creating that default assignment. And refresh is only called within the adding assignments each once. So when the count zero. So just ensuring that every student's in there and everything. Um, to to the assignment list, if it's null, then it will add a new list there. So this is basically just all adding stuff to students, getting the student, um, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the person, pretty similar, just with the classification. If I were to rewrite this code, I would have had a person be a parent, or it would have been a parent class to a instructor and um, a student, but currently I just added a classification of stuff to alleviate those issues. But the year naming convention is a little weird when you're looking at an instructor. Um, the submissions, um, this literally just is a submission item, kind of like an assignment, but it just has what time it was submitted. Um, this was better than having just a text entry submission because it allowed a lot more flexibility um, for what I could put in it. It also allowed for that date and time feature, which is kind of nifty. Not too difficult to implement. The services, these basically just get the course if it's in the course list. They're both singletons. So that's the course service. Instructor service, not too complicated again, pretty standard. This just is adding the basic people to the roster. Student service, this also just adds some students, for example. You can enroll, uh, get the first student. I don't think this is literally ever used, um, but just a bunch of other things. Most of these functions that don't necessarily have a common use case I was just using for debugging and will remove in the final submission. Moving on to the views, there are a lot of them. Um, so let's start with the instructor view, I suppose. Um, so the instructor view, basically, the binding context here to the instructor query is just when you type in something, then it changes the view models query property to whatever you're typing in this text box. And then the search just goes to the code behind, says, hey, filter the list. The filtered list is in the instructor view, so instructor view model. So the filtered list essentially is just grabbing this, seeing if that element in the roster contains the name to lower, and then if the name contains this instructor query. There's a lot of stuff in here, so um, the notify property change, that's just for updating it. So if I'm typing in something, um, or use the X button, for example, when you click the X button, how it clears um, the the query string. I'm just using this to essentially just set that to an empty string. And if I didn't call a refresh, like in this, then it wouldn't update on the front end. Uh, so um, in the student, and this is doing the exact same thing with the query. Um, Clearing the instructor, setting that instructor query to empty, as I said previously. Um, Instructor service. Um, this is literally just the service elements basically in the new person. This should probably be changed to nullable. It would make a lot more sense, but it also creates really weird ID numbers that seem random, but they're not. They're just creating a bunch of empty people that are in the oblivion, I suppose. Like this data is never going to be used again right here. So I don't know. Definitely some refactoring I need to do. The instructor service that just adds that instructor. And then this isn't actually uh, ever called, I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, this is never called because I have the enter and the um, so basically just sets it to 0. So this is the edit is actually called both by the add and not. So there's definitely a lot of refactoring. This is some pretty nasty code. This thing, it smells. Canvas view model. This is just for the student roster. I'm pretty sure this line of code is also completely unnecessary. Moving on to the selected instructor view model. This is just like if you're an instructor, I guess I should probably pull this up for reference. So this is just when you do this, right? So the front end's pretty simple. This is just a label, big padding, background color. This is just bound to the instructor that is loaded in, which is by query property. I'll show that in a second. Um, and just gets that info. And then after that, I'll show you the course information. Um, so for loading by ID, we are just simply getting the query element, um, or not query, the pathing parameters for in here. So for the course detail option, it, it also applies to this one. So I'm just sure we're taking the selected instructor view model. So we're loading in here. We got the person's ID, right? And then that gets set to this. And then it goes all the way down here. And this is just the unnavigated to the actual implementation, or the call is within the XAML file. It creates the binding context as this new instructor view model. The back just goes to the previous one. And then these are all functions which are called in there. So here's the implementation. This is all accessors for getting the displays. Then we have the selected course. That's just whatever course you're clicking. Um, the Go to async. This is just going to pass the instructor's ID and the course ID to the selected course view model, which is the next one we're going to talk about. This is just grabbing this element, and then this is going to eventually bind in here, which is going to construct calling the instructor service. This just gets the instructor and course and stuff. The query sent empty by default, and then these are both null. Um, so then that's eventually updated throughout here, where you can add the assignment and things such as that. So if we're going to go back to the instructor we're entering, that is essentially just the equivalent of when we're entering this course, we're passing in the instructor's ID so we can identify him and get him. And then also this course's ID. So entering, so as you can see, there's the test course, the course we entered, and it's going to load up all the info for the students to display here. And then the query that I was talking about just now is just this info stored right here. So the query is currently containing two, right? Um, so then we have the student assignments. These bad boys are all loaded up by um, this right here. I thought it was actually pretty fun to implement the when you click a student, it changes. So I guess I'll just go over how I managed to accomplish that as well. So basically, um, the student is right here, like that. Um, so the list view item source. So it's getting that list of the student assignments and the selected one. So the one you're clicking on, right? So like if I that's a student enroll in this course. So all right, zero. All right, so we enroll in this course and we add an assignment there. So if we add an assignment to the student, we can see right there that they have an assignment in that list. So so when I'm clicking this, that's what's being stored in this selected assignment. Um, so going back into the selected assignment, um, or the selected course view, um, we have all of that information stored. And then when you're clicking the Add Assignment button, again, opening up a new view, it's the exact same view, just pass in an assignment ID or not. If you're not passing in one, then it's just going to add it. If you are, then it's not, right. Um, and then the delete doesn't do any of that. It just deletes it from the list, right? Updates it within. So it just deletes from this. It deletes from the select student. I'll eventually implement from every student as well. So moving on to the assignment dialog. So the assignment dialog, pretty similar thing, right? And it's just going to display all the info of the assignment, bind that to the back end, which is just holding the um, it's just holding the info for the assignment, updates it when it's typed in, doesn't or not, um, doesn't if not. And this is all loaded through the instructor's ID. That's the only reason really the instructor's ID is here is actually just so you can return to the instructor. The person's ID, the course ID, and the assignment's ID. And then again, if the assignment's ID is default, then it's just going to remove the new assignment. So you can see how my code has improved throughout working on this as well, learning and stuff. And then this date and time selector is actually great because it just uses the Maui one, so it looked great as well. Um, and that's if you're doing something like this. It looks great and then changes there. All right, and now moving on to the student stuff. Also just gets last mission. There's not a ton to say about it. So moving on to the students views, I'm just gonna try and quickly go through these. So opening the student view, again, just list the students, click them. If you want to open them, it goes to that path which navigates to the selected student view. That just displays a welcome message, which is basically just welcome plus student.name, right? It's got a display course list. You select the course to this, updates in the back end. Once again, pretty repetitive thing. Um, it's not super different from each view. Same kind of general properties. And then select enroll. So I'll go over the enrollment one first. The enrollment's basically the same thing, just you click a button. If you want to enroll in it, then you click enroll and it pops up with this based on is added bool. So if it's added, then the bool is true. If it's not, then the bool is false, right? And it only shows up when the bool is true. So this is the enrollment view model. So I can show some of my mistakes in this as well. So mistake in the actual enrollment process. This line should be in this. I just think that it could be significantly reduced. Um, because the student service enroll, it doesn't seem as bad as it actually is, but when you get into what the enrollment did, I tried to abstract this more so I didn't have to um, actually go and rewrite everything with twice. So I just did it in this enroll function that it updates the course and the students. So it is abstracted to a point where it makes it a lot easier, but it's still like not the best way of doing it, definitely. Um, And unenrolling is the exact same thing. Other than that, pretty simple on what it's doing. Um, I don't know why that's showing red. I must have done something. Oh, my fault. Um, so the observable collections, I just realized I haven't gone over this. So it's basically just taking the list, converting it to something we can see, right? And then going into the next view, which is going to be equivalent to um, opening the assignment. This one is going to be the assignment dialog or submission dialog. This is just for submitting, and that's just a text box again. Same thing, same process. It's got text entry. You enter text, finds the back end, you submit it, it just creates a new assignment or a new submission, adds it to the submission list at the end. So yeah, that's basically what I have so far. Thank you.